of Engineering, Australia, fellow and chartered marine engineer of the Institute of Marine Engineering, Science and Technology, and committee member of the Royal Institution of Naval Architects. Currently, he serves as the Vice Dean of Maritime Research at the Arab Academy for Science, Technology and Maritime Transport. Let's welcome Dr. Ahmad Aiswadan on screen to present the topic, Preparing Your Vessel for Efficient Dry Docking Maintenance, a Seafarer's Perspective. Switch on to the Zoom presentation, please.
Yeah, so we can start.
Good day, everybody. Can you hear me?
Sir, you can start now, yes.
Thank you. Can you just open the chair? Sharing documents, please.
Recording in progress.
Alrighty. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody, all over the world, and especially for our colleagues in IMC. Firstly, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Ahmed Abdulwahab Sweden. I graduated back in 2000, so I got around 25 years now of maritime experience, or more than that, because actually since I've been in elementary school, I used to love the maritime industry itself, and I got a connection, given that I'm coming from Alexandria, Egypt, which is located on the Mediterranean Sea. I really, the sea is a big part of my life. So I graduated from the Military Technical College with a discipline in mechanical engineering. Then I joined the Egyptian Navy for 9 years, up to being a chief engineer on board a lot of warships and also high speed and supply vessels. Then I resigned in 2009 and I joined the commercial vessels as marine chief engineer and superintendent engineer for various type of vessels, including large high-speed catamarans or high-speed ferries, which was RoPax vessels. Then I started my academic career as a lecturer in the Arab Academy for Science, Technology, and the Maritime Transport, which is the hub of the maritime education there in the MENA region. And I've been fortunate to be honored to get a scholarship, full-time scholarship from the Australian Maritime College. That was back in 2012 after I finished my master's degree. Then I joined the Australian Maritime College as both PhD student in the Maritime Engineering and Hydrodynamics Center, and also as a lecturer for seafarers from pre-C to chief engineer level. I worked there in Tasmania at the Australian Maritime College for nearly 6 years. Then I've been fortunate to be promoted to senior lecturer in 2018 and joined the University of New South Wales, Canberra, in Australia to develop there with a couple of my colleagues the new naval architect program. And then during the COVID-19, I started moving back to Egypt for family reasons and other stuff. And I joined the Arab Academy again as a vice dean and also as a visiting professor there in UNSW, plus also owning my consulting firm at the moment. In brief, this is just, like a brief of, or a very fast brief about it. However, I believe that part of being a good seafarer is to understand how to maintain your vessel. Maintaining your vessel and doing the right maintenance for your ship, what will make you really a good seafarer. Seafarers, it's not about just having the helm from the bridge or running the engine in the engine room or just measuring some parameters and judging them, but it's all about having the sense and having also and doing the right job before it fails or before it's really in critical situation that it is unoperable. That's why I believe that understanding the maintenance of the ships and how you can maintain it and how you can be prepared for it, it's really an essential part for every seafarer and maritime engineer. One of the key elements of maintenance, it is the dry docking. One of the big tasks for the owners, for the fleet, for the seafarers even, and for the workshops is to do the right planning for the dry dock. That's why our topic today will focus on that important topic, which is dry docking from a practical point and also theoretical point of view. However, I'm going to focus on really true life scenarios, which I am already involved in it. And I will try to share my knowledge, as a lessons learned for all of you guys, for our students here to learn and not to repeat any mistakes and to repeat the good things that we might been done or might have done. That's why we are going to start today with the topic of docking. Docking as a very simple definition, we can call it. It is a planned grounding. Since we are going to ground our vessel and to plan to ground it, this will really can a lot of stuff can go wrong, not only for being long time on the dock, but also during the docking and the undocking. It is really critical things that we have to take care of it. And it's part even of your decision of which dry dock you are going to select your vessel to head for it. This is really an important part of it because every vessel has its own limitations. Say, for an example, some dry docks couldn't trim by 5 degrees or 10 degrees or 20 degrees or 30 degrees. So, prior to planning to go for any dock, you have to understand the limitation of your vessel and also the limitations of the dry dock that you have selected in terms of the lifting capacity and also in terms of the technicality of it. Just in brief, I totally understand that you might aware of that, but based on the requirements for the statutory requirements and to renew the certificates of the vessel, each vessel will go through three main or four main types of surveys. Four main types of surveys. The initial survey, which happens at the sea trials at the start or the birth of the vessel. Then, after every year, we'll go through an annual survey. However, after 2.5 years, which at the mid of the 5 years interval, there will be a docking for the vessel. You can take some exemptions from the intermediate survey or from docking the vessel at the intermediate survey by doing in-water survey every 2.5 years with a time interval plus minus 6 months to go for dock. However, every vessel must go for docking every 5 years to double check all the underwater parts. I'll just give you a quotation now and let's think about who could say that. When anyone asks me, he was an expert captain, by the way, who mentioned that. When anyone asks me how I can best describe my experience of nearly 40 years at sea, I merely say uneventful. Of course, there have been rough seas and storms and fog and the like, but in all my experience, I have never been in an accident of any sort worth speaking about. I have seen but one vessel in distress in all my years at sea. I never saw a wreck and have never been wrecked, nor I was ever in my predicament that threatened to end in disaster of any sort. Imagine with me, guys, who mentioned these words, just describe that his life at sea is just smooth and no problem at all. That was actually from a presentation by E.J. Smith in 1907, later to become master of the RMS Titanic, which struck an iceberg on 14th April 1912 and sank with loss of unlikely 1,500 lives. So it was just an interval of 5 years from his words that his vessel already sank and make a big disaster. That's why we need really to maintain our vessel and to be sure that we do the right thing. In terms of responsibilities, who is responsible for the ship during dry docking? Which clause of the ISM code refers to maintenance? Who's responsible for the safety of people working on the ship during dry docking? These key things, we are going to think about it and we are going to introduce it in our presentation today. First of all, here we got like a tanker, I believe, and it's already on a floating dock. And as we can see, we have three different colors. Color, like gray color or yellow color or brown color at the bottom, then red color, then the blue color, which is above the water line. That yellow color, as soon as the vessel enters the dock, there will be a lot of fouling around it. And it's big issue now and the hot topic actually that is introduced by the IMO and different countries, including Australia, including different nations are working to fight the fouling and the transfer of the microorganisms through the ships from one sea to another or from water to another type of water. So the fouling now they cleaned it and now the vessel is on her dock safely. Communication and checks that should take place before the vessel takes the chocks, the position of the vessel. And from my experience, you have to send some documents or key documents to any dry dock before thinking even to enter the dock. One of them is for sure the general arrangement, the shell expansion plan, and also the stiffening plan or the structure of the vessel as much as you can, and all the required jobs that you are going to do it with the vessel. And if the vessel is going through a normal or a planned docking, that's a story. And if it's going for an emergency docking, that's another story. Emergency docking, that the vessel could be with some cargo, that the vessel could be with damage in the hull, that the vessel could be unstable, that the vessel could be with any angle, but not at the right angle on any mean. That's why we need to be prepared for that. Docking itself, it will be happened by the aid of tugs, by the aid of pilot, by the aid of even the master of the dock himself, and also by the master of the ship. Your role here as an engineer or as a master of the vessel, your role here will be to prepare your vessel for entering this dock. Say, for an example, for the master to adjust the stability of the vessel, to adjust his tanks, to make the forepeak, the aft peak, if it's going to be trimmed by bow or aft or whatever, for the engineer to be prepared by every aspect in the engine room and with minimal fuel on the vessel. Here, for example, as soon as the vessel will be, the position of the vessel last set on the keel shocks should be noted and the docking master advised. The last one, why? Because every time if you are going to sit the vessel on the same chocks or keel chocks, then the fouling there will be huge. That's why every time you have to replace that chocks from one place to another, or you can clean under or beneath that chocks if you have excess chocks or extra chocks in on the dock itself. Here is the type of the chocks. We make it from steel, which is connected to rails on the bottom of the dock itself, and that can allow her to move fore and aft with the dock. However, there will be wooden stuff or wooden blocks that the vessel will sit on it, not to make damage with the vessel. The hull extrusions should be advised plus any critical sections in the hull, like the drain plugs, the echo sounder, log beat tube, stabilizer. Some vessels have some appendages that goes out of it. Especially for an example, the survey vessel that does have echo sounders, and also some type of research vessels that have certain appendages beneath it or even if you got like the voice Schneider type of propeller, and also that will can make also have to be considered while docking the vessel. The dock master will advise the maximum draft and the required trim of the docking vessel, and the master of the vessel must maintain that limit. If your vessel, for any reason, say the ballast tanks are not water sealed for any reason, piping of the ballast tanks are not watertight, all of that stuff could happen for any vessel due to lack of maintenance or various reasons. However, if this is your case, you have to advise the master of the dock about your situation and try to find solutions for it, either by lifting the vessel while it is in even keel, or just telling him that the maximum you can reach is 5 degrees or the minimum you can reach could be 15 degrees. Depends upon the situation itself. Based on that, the master of the dock will do many calculations, actually, a series of calculations to ensure that the vessel will be stable while it is lifted. Why I mean it that the vessel will be stable while it is lifted? Because the vessel is normally operating all of it in water, which means that the vessel is designed to operate in water. As soon as the part of the vessel will touch that chocks, actually the vessel will lose her stability, which is designed on it. That's why timing of that and from where I'm going to catch that vessel or try to touch it, this is really critical, and this can cause a lot of accidents happened before in many dry docks all over the world. The dock master is then advised of the additional weight distribution and the forward and aft drafts entering the dock. Rule of thumb here, guys, as the same situation the vessel will be docked, it will be also the same situation where the vessel will be undocked. So the vessel to be docked or undocked, it will be within the same situation. For docking itself, during the period of draining the dock, the ship has little to do. Actually, I go beyond that a bit, and from the point of how to write or even prepare for the docking. Excuse me, guys, but I'm flying since last night, and I just arrived now to the hotel, so that's why I'm a bit tired and wearing casual. Sorry for that, but that's the situation. So beyond even heading to the dock, you have to make that quotation and sorry, to make your tender and ask for quotations for all available dry docks around. That tender or call of tender for your required works, including the basic works and all the works required by your crew, should be advised by the should be signed by the chief engineer, by the chief officer, by the master of the vessel, by the superintendent, by the DBA, by whatever, who must go and ensure that all items are written and written in details, as we are going to see later on. However, before going to the dock, then you have to drain or pumping out the dock, sewing on blocks off aft, sewing on blocks forward, and dock dry. All generators, cooling water, and everything overboard will be disconnected, and shore connection will be supplied to the vessel. As soon as the vessel is docked, the first thing we do it on the same day is removing the fouling from the bottom of the vessel and the sides of it. So removing that fouling as soon as the vessel is docked is must, because this will cause a lot of stuff if it's being hardened on the hull of the vessel. Secondly, we have to be prepared even before entering to the dock If it's planned, say, to get out the tail shaft of the vessel, or doing some maintenance with the tail shaft, or even with the rudder, then the simplex, the water seal, the oil seals, if it's oil lubricated or whatever. So all of these types, you have to be prepared for it, including bearings, including everything. So that steering tube and every type of things you must be prepared for it before even heading to the dock. That's why you advise any shipping company that prior to the dock by at least 1 year, you have to start writing what is required for the next dock to take its cycles and cycles and cycles and then prepare for the tender and ask for quotations and you can negotiate and whatever and then you can go to the right dock that can do the right job for your vessel. And then we are going to inspect also the condition of the sacrificial anodes if fitted. Sometimes we are not happy when we see the sacrificial anodes are at the same situation, same like it was being added first time, because this means that it is not working, or it means that it is really coming from unvalid source or bad source, if I can call it by that mean. So having this type of sacrificial anodes, we are going to double check it, and who wants to be replaced, we are going to replace it and calculate the numbers and getting even the exact positions of it. And it's not only about the outer hull, but also in the ballast tanks and everywhere where the sacrificial anodes are placed, like the sea chests or other type of coolers. And then we are going to remove the bottom plugs to drain all the tanks of the vessel, except for sure the oil and the fuel tanks. But I mean here, like the ballast tanks, like whatever tanks that we can remove the plug for it and get the water out, and as required by classification and statutory surveys. Docking. As soon as the vessel is docked now and we started inspecting that little things, we are going to do thorough measurements around the vessel. Thorough measurements of the thickness of the hull, thorough measurement of the condition of the propeller, thorough investigation for the rudder, thorough investigation of every part of the vessel, and we can conclude if it has been in damage before or not. Like here, the guys are taking actually by the filler the measurements or the clearances between the tail shaft and the stern tube, and also for the rudder, they will measure the drop of the rudder from outer side and inner side. You have also to be prepared with your vessel by all special tools required for that, and don't rely on the shipyard that is going to provide you by all the spare parts required. But you have to be prepared for that and ask for it, especially if it will be special tools for that. During the docking, after doing that, we will start and taking the measurements of the hull and marking the areas where you are going to cut the steel and preparing for the firefighting and the safety precautions before cutting and doing such hot works on your vessel. You have also to start working inside the vessel. During the undocking or before finishing the dock repairs, there are some concerns that you have to look after them in a good manner. First of all, if the plugs are already placed and added cement to it or not, this is like watertight or extra watertight or safety for these plugs. and the draft is remained as same as the vessel was docked, and the same trim as well, and the tanks pressed up. It is a planned maintenance most of the time. Planned maintenance means that there is short period safe afterwards, and then compromise period and long maintenance period. Many failures occurs, and that's over the life of the any vessel. Okay, I'll speak here not only about the technical parts or how to prepare your vessel to the dock by the spare parts, by the required things, but also I will add one thing as well, which is the economic part of it. Annual and damage repairs inputs like, yeah, just, yeah. When we maintain or repair vessels, one of the key factors or governing key factors is really the cost of repairing such damage. To minimize this cost, not to minimize the writing of what is in the vessel and what is required to be repaired, but to write this item in details. So when you send your tender to two or three shipyards around or capable shipyards around, you will get the right quotation from each shipyard. But writing summarized or briefed term while you are going to dock, this equal that you are going to get useless quotation, and at the end of the day, the invoice will come tripled or four times maybe the initial quotation. So your role here is not to write just simple words, no, but to write the detailed description of the repair, plus also the unforeseen repairs. You should have to prepare for it, which can be like 10 to 20% more out of the budget. Say for an example here, we've got a vessel here now. They did like sand sweeping, and instead of doing sand blasting. Why or when we do the sand sweep rather than sand blast? And from my experience, guys, one of the very important documents that should be on board. Sorry, uh, sorry, it's running. Yep, sorry for that. Ah, one of the important documents that must be on board, which is the surface area of the entire vessel. Meaning that the surface area of the underwater line area, the area of the above water line area, the area of the deck, the area of the hatch cover, the area of whatever is on board. This must be well prepared. And don't rely on the measurements, don't rely on the block coefficient, don't rely on other type of methods when you are going to a shipyard. Because just I'll ask you a little question. How much this area will be involved in the calculations? Say for the underwater line. Anyone can answer? How many times if you enter the wrong area of the underwater area, wrong or bigger than it's required? Say it is 2,000 meters square. Okay, that's the actual, and it's written like 2,000, or the shipyard will ask you that this is will be 2,500 or 3,000 meters square. If this document is missed from on board, how much this error will rotate? It will starting by removing the fouling. It will be calculated, say $1, $2 per meter square for removing the fouling. Then for the sand sweeping, Then for painting for 3 layers. One which is anti-rust, then the anti-fouling couple of times. Okay, guys. So this means that you are going to pay for the wrong area around, that is what we call it the round of error. Okay, like 5 times. This will cause that the budget will be huge. That's why the master and the chief engineer of the vessel, when they are aware and they got the experience of working with dry docks, they can really minimize the costs upon the dry dock and just don't leave it to the estimation or the rough estimation that will happen on site there. So now after that sand sweeping, they will clean the hull from any salts and then shall leave it to dry and they shall start painting it. Also polishing of the propeller and cleaning of the rudder. This increases the efficiency of the ship and reduces the fuel consumption and as such the fuel emissions out of the vessel. Nowadays, also, we can see a lot of amendments required by different shipyards for the air injection or the air bubbles, creating air bubbles or some polymers beneath the hull to enhance or to decrease the resistance or the wave making resistance from the vessel. So I believe that this is also a very important point. Consider. Then for after cleaning the hull, you can test some parts of the tanks or even the rudder here, as you can see, by the dye penetrate test or different means of test. This is just one of them, just to ensure if there is leakage or not. Then, after even welding or closing any new welds that will happen during the dry dock, we have also to double check it and ensure that the quality person of the guy of the shipyard has done that and getting a report out of that. First thing we do it while there is some welding or cutting on the vessel, especially for welding. The first test to do it with the welding is the visual test. So you have really to focus and show them that you understand how the right weld seam should be for that certain area. If you don't understand that part, please read well about it and or gain knowledge more about it. It's really 10%, nearly 10% of the weight of any commercial vessel is welding. So welding is really big part of the vessel. So we need to, from our officers and either nautical or engineers, that we really need them to understand more about the welding and the welding procedure and even how to test the welding at least visually. Then polishing that type of propellers also increases the efficiency as mentioned and enhances the thrust coming from the vessel for certain purposes. Here's the ship when it finishes the dock. It's really, and as you can see here, he put the azimuth thrust on the other side just to allow for the ship to be undocked. All right. And you can see that the vessel is really clean and nice and no problem with it. Here is another type of propellers, which we mentioned it before, which is the voice Schneider type of propeller. Ah, for the ship, to supplement to the shipyard for entering it, all the plans of the vessel as required and the capacity and tank capacity and sounding of the tanks, all of that should be delivered to the shipyard. Like the lines plan, the shell expansion plan, the capacity plan, the GA, the docking plan, the pipe tanks plan, and the detailed plans as much as you. Lines plan is really very important to adjust the blocks beneath the vessel. And the shell expansion plan is very important to understand what you are going to measure. The hull thickness. For certain areas, it is allowable by less than 15%. It's okay. For certain areas, it is allowable by less than 20% is the minimum that you can accept it. Other areas, it could be the minimum is 10% only and depends upon the classification society who's surveying the vessel. So knowing that the hull thickness has decreased by 10% or 15% or 20% at that certain area, this what is going to say is the shell expansion plan, where it is really you can see every point of the vessel where what thickness should be designed for. And then the capacity plan, which shows the capacity of the tanks and the deadweight scale. And the capacity plan also shows the condition of the vessel while docking to maintain it while also undocking after taking the sounding of the tanks. For the general arrangement, it's really important to know where is the machinery spaces, where the cargo spaces, where is the fuel tanks, where is the oil tanks, where is the sewage tanks. So everything there, you have to understand it from the general arrangement. And here is like an example of general arrangement for marine vehicle Alstom. Docking plan shows underwater profile, location of any appendages added to the vessel, position of C-section and the plugs, so the block won't sit above them or beneath them. Provides information on vertical distances from baseline and used to position keel and bilge blocks. Cargo tank plan also shows the capacity and the condition of the vessel while it is docked, as mentioned before. And that's like the service tanks, like knowing the fresh water, the COH, the whatever, the F peak, the 40 peak, all of that, and air piping system. And that's like the docking plan of the vessel with different alternatives and here is like the planning. This vessel will be docked using a synchro lift, not a floating dock. Why I'm mentioning synchro lift, as you can see here, there are different types of motors on both sides. This motor can lift the whole barge up with the vessel after being the vessel is sitting on her blocks. This is part of it, guys. Other things that I would like also to mention. Let no, this one, sorry. Yeah, here is just to conclude what we have mentioned before, guys. That the class and the docking, it's part of the classification or renewing the classification and the statutory certificates. And it happens every 5 years as a must, but it can be also exempted after 2.5 years based on in-water survey. And here is some notations of the vessels, and we have to understand it, like, and the survey cycle, periodical survey, suspension of class or withdrawal, and condition of class, and the memorandum doesn't affect the class. Survey cycle, as I mentioned it before at the start, it's starting here at the initial or the when the vessel is birthed. Then every year happens the annual survey. Then after 2.5 years here between the second and the third year within an interval of 6 months, this can happen the intermediate survey. Then after 5 years, this will happen the special survey, which is really everything will be surveyed on the vessel. Some type of the vessel that we can distribute the special survey over the annual surveys, but for bunker and passenger vessels, it's forbidden. The major difference from the annual survey is the bottom survey. The vessel is not approved for 5-year docking intervals. The vessel has to go into dry dock at this time. Okay, this is, I've mentioned that before, that's the in-water survey. Yep, and it must be monitored and registered. Okay, just one thing here for the tail shaft survey, the periods of it. This document is really important for any, because I asked many guys actually in the oral exams for chief engineer or for even masters or whatever, when the tail shaft should be withdrawn, and they will say every dock, which is wrong. Every dock, which means 5 years. That's if the glands approved by society and a shaft withdrawn and shaft in place. Okay. Temperature of stern aft bearing monitored and notation non-shaft assigned. Okay. Here, no if single shaft, yes or no, every 3 years or 4 years, and shaft fitted with oil lubricated, so it won't go to the 4 years, but can be extended to the 5 years if it's oil lubricated, and the oil consumption recorded at intervals not more than 6 months and satisfactory, so don't go for 5 years. If the temperature is maintained in a good condition, so no, not every 10 years, but it can be every 10 years like like the shaft in place, and you can do that. So this document is really important because I felt that many guys are confused with the, especially with the tail shaft requirements. Okay. Any question, please? I'm more than happy, and I'm so sorry if for my delays and for my flights today that has made a lot of. But I'm so happy actually to be with you guys, and thank you for having me for today. And I'm really more than happy to answer any question. Okay, so I'll just give one example here, guys, just, and then I'll finish my presentation. Here, I've mentioned before also that writing the tender or call of tender is very important. Here is, for example, some examples of specs. One engineer wrote renew one engine room, generator one, pipeline, 100 millimeter diameter, total length 60 meters, allow all access, staging, etc. And then this company is really blaming the shipyard that you give me the quotation by X dollars, and at the end of the day, for the same item, this quotation or the pricing of it is like 3 or 4x, simply because it is written by unclear way. The right way here, renew engine room pipeline with following dimensions. The outer or the diameter is 100 millimeter times 5 meter with one bend and two flanges and one branch diameter 100 mil and time is 1 meter plus one bend and one flange. That's how it should be written. If you will compare the pricing of the right uh, and the pricing of the non-clear item, you know why the invoice comes higher than the first quotation. Here also something is missed because he didn't mention what table that pipe will relates to. If it's table 40, table 60, table 80, or what is the pressure inside it, anyhow. So you have to mention as much details as you can while writing. Okay, that's why he's make it material scheduled 80, seamless after fabricating hot dip galvanized the pipe. Can you imagine the difference? Axis work, remove and refit one number by diameter 150 times 3 meters. Staging, erect and remove 3-meter high staging. Can you imagine now, guys, contractor to supply 1 TB and on board? Can you imagine, guys, here? This is the works that you are going to pay for it at the end of the dock. If you wrote it this way, the dry dock will tell you, yes, this will cost you $200, $1,000. But if you wrote it on the right-hand side, the shipyard will ask you that this will cost you $2,000 at the start. So by describing what is required really before going to dock, it's really important, because at that time you can compare between pricing of different shipyards based on the right tender, not just summarized tender. And if you can provide also simple sketch of the work required, that should be highly appreciated. Here, if you can imagine with me, open up main seawater pump, inspect overall, repair as required. Okay, that's 90% of the seafarers write the items by this way. However, the right thing to mention, main seawater pump, which is 750 meter cube, vertical pump, single stage, put separately for the following items. Open up in place, because every pump depends upon its flow rate and its if it's multi-stage and the type of it, there is certain pricing. Open up in place, okay, clean, survey, and whatever. Okay, and workshop and return to ship, dismantle completely, check tuners of the shaft, and dynamically access work, remove. Okay, so cost impact docking and the maintenance is really important. Okay, so please consider to write the right thing instead of getting that sudden pricing at the end of the day and for your company. Thank you very much for having me, and I'll stop here. Okay, and thank you very much for having me. Any question, please? Just please ask. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmad A. Swidan, for delivering such an enlightening and insightful session. The wealth of information and heightened awareness gained from this experience was truly remarkable. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Success in any
Recording
field
stopped.
demands more than just skill. Success in any field demands more than just skill. It requires a perfect blend of speed and persistence. Inspired by the timeless lesson of the hare and the tortoise, to recognized program designed to enhance individual efficiency through a comprehensive approach to time management and personal growth, built on the 1:1:1 time principle, balancing mind, body, and karma. The program incorporates efficiency improvement, system management, emphasizing 100 key management principles. These principles guide participants in mastering both personal and professional growth, enabling them to navigate the complexities of the corporate world with the speed of a hare and steady resilience of a tortoise, driving sustained success. This philosophy will be explained in the upcoming videos. Throughout the event, we will be introducing 10 Horton's Level 1 topics at various intervals, all related to parameters for industrial readiness and efficiency improvements. These topics will provide valuable insights into how we enhance efficiency and preparedness in industrial settings. We are also excited to announce that Hard Toys Level 1 credits will be made available to students after the event. The credentials and access details will be shared directly to your email, so be sure to check your inbox. Stay tuned as we delve into these important topics. We are now playing Hard Toys Level 1 videos, one on time management and the other one on career design management. Let's go back to the screen. Can we have the AV, please?
There are several parameters that can affect one's efficiency, and the first and foremost of them all is time management. There are 24 hours in a day, and this is the constant for all. So to be efficient, you need to split your time into 3 parts, 1-1-1 for a balanced body, mind, and karma, and that too with proper breaks. So proper sleep and physical exercises are required for the body. And anything ranging between mindfulness practices, entertainment, spending time with your loved ones are required for the mind. A third of your time equals to 240 hours in a month, and this is for your karma. And this also includes your travel time. Therefore, unless you have a driver to help you with your travels, it is advised to stay closer to your workplace to improve your efficiency. Time is money. I firmly believe that work is worship, time is God, and clocks are your idol. So always respect your time and be punctual. So count every minute while you're planning or executing your jobs, because any time spent for incompetent jobs or rework will lead to an efficiency drain. Goals. A person without a goal or target in life is like a stranded ship in an ocean. So first set your life goals and your 5-year plan. And this is followed by your yearly, monthly, weekly, and daily goals to achieve them. Have a strategy to achieve each and every goal on your checklist. And make sure this is accessible on your mobile devices so that you don't miss out on any one of them, even by mistake. And you can even set alarms to remind you. Delegations. Delegations are an important quality of a leader, which can help you complete your jobs on time and economically. It is also important to not compromise on the quality, so delegate to the right, cheaper manpower as well as subcontractors. Things to do. Besides a routine job under your duties and responsibilities, you should also have a to-do list for the day. Now this includes previously planned jobs, carry forward jobs from the previous day, and newly identified tasks. This should be followed by an appreciation or observation from your superior for a smooth and quality execution of your jobs. Review. A daily planning of your downline should be reviewed in the first half an hour of the day, and any flaws must be corrected in the morning itself, so that they can take the corrective measures. A planned job must have a progressive checkpoint from start to end to ensure its timely and quality completion. And this is irrespective of the job being your own or your downline. Technology utilization. Efficiency in the modern days depends on the effective utilization of technologies such as mobile gadgets, computers, softwares, and apps. Therefore, individuals must have proper training to use these devices with necessary softwares and apps to make technology their best companion. Working environment. The infrastructure and the management outlook must also be supported to beat the records of your karma against time. If your working environment lacks good ambience, motivation, communication and network speed, professional management, HR and IT support, then your valuable time may be wasted. Prioritization. Common sense and logical thinking is required to make a priority list. This is because the importance and the value of your jobs vary from case to case. Therefore, it is your responsibility to have a priority list as a part of your planning, and this should also apply to your personal jobs as well. Job skills. You can only be a master at your job provided that you have the appropriate skill set, which in turn makes you extremely efficient. For this, you must have proper training, leadership, experience, work procedure, right choice selection, and industrial awareness, etc. So here it is. These are the 10 parameters that you need to manage your time efficiently at your workplace. Hi, I'm Leonor, and on this video we will be talking about career design management. The very purpose of an education is to have a career for your livelihood and for your character development. Unfortunately, even after 2 decades of struggle, most of us fail to design a career matching with our talent, passion, and skill. So we automatically become inefficient and frustrated if 4 of these elements don't fall in line. So your talent is inborn, your passion comes out of interest, your skills are acquired through training, and your career through your profession. So in other words, think about it in this way. Your talent is like a child, your passion is like a lover, your skill is your character, and your career is like your marriage. So to have an everlasting happily married life, you need all of these 4 elements to come under one roof. So let's have a short trip to the 10 stages of the career design management. Talent identification. Every person is born with a talent, but most of us fail to identify it. So from a very young age, students spend more time with their friends who tend to be the best reflections of their hidden talent. So with the proper guidance from mentors, talent clubs managed by students will be the best platform to identify and showcase these talents. Passion identification. Since your passion is portrayed through your behaviors, your parents can easily identify this. So this can even be observed through their self-interest, through the time and efforts that they have invested on their talents, through the conversations that they have, the research that they do, and even the competitive attitude that they have towards others in the same field. So this is where mentors and parents should guide you to choose the right path, because there may be so many options to choose from. Talent and passion development. So once you have identified your talent and passion, it is your responsibility to set your targets for its growth and its development. So this is when mentors and parents should motivate you by giving you a progressive review and also by helping you take the necessary corrective measures. Character molding. The basic character of a person can be shaped to a great extent, especially by fine-tuning the ego. This enhances your personality, which allows you to become more charismatic. There are several elements that contribute to building your character. For example, like having leadership skills, being dynamic, being proactive, being a good listener, having a positive attitude, knowing how to manage your crisis, being result-oriented, and having a systematic approach. Therefore, a counselor can be consulted at this stage for better assessment. Career options. If you look at your guide list, you can see that there are thousands of career options. So if you have identified your talent and passion which aligns with your basic characteristic trait, then you can disregard most of the unwanted areas. So your HR consultant can guide you to get a better picture about your industrial, academic, and research sector needs that is suitable for your career growth and your self-development. So it's the responsibility of the schools to have the consultations done in the presence of parents. Career design. In addition to the points that I have mentioned earlier, a constructive mentorship and a parental support is essential for your career design. It's better to have the first stage of your career design completed by the age of 12 years old, followed by a second round of specialization within 3 years. This would help you to avoid courses not required for your career path. Skills development. You need to have around 10,000 hours of practice to become a master in any field. So the career design process depends on how soon you can get into the skill development phase. However, the quality of that phase depends on the training system, the trainers, the dedication, industrial exposure, and the latest technology utilization. A 5-year goal setting is mandatory for this stage. So a character development to suit the industrial needs should be completed as a part of this. So campus projects, internships, startup ventures shall also play a major role in career development. Professional placement. So even though you have completed your career design, the most critical decision of your career will be the selection of your very first job, as the professional journey will start from that point. The first 5 years in that field will make you a master with job satisfaction and efficiency, but given that you don't offer an alternative career choice based on a better salary. Entrepreneurship. Startups at your schools and universities are launch pads of entrepreneurship. So if you have a passion for it, never miss to take a shot at it. However, it is advisable to have at least 5 years of service as a professional to master the skills before becoming an entrepreneur. Retirement. It is recommended to have set your retirement goals well in advance. So therefore, your retirement plans should be part of your long-term goals. But it is a fact that you may find it very hard to retire if your passion, your talent, your skill, and your profession align, and you really want to enjoy sweet moments until your very last breath. So here it is. These are the 10 guidelines that can assist you in designing your career path.
That was a great video. Our next presentation will be delivered by Ms. Sandra K. Enel, Chief Educator at AIMRI, a distinguished professional with an impressive range of achievements. Ms. Sandra holds a BTech in Naval Architecture and Shipbuilding and is currently pursuing an MA in Psychology. Her career began as a junior naval architect at Navgadi Marine, where she specialized in vessel strength, stability, and solar vessel design. Now, as chief educator at AIMRI, she leads AIMRI's marine short-term courses and represents the Institute's innovative projects. She is also certified in soft skills and life skills. Ms. Sandra is also the founder of Mentex, a venture that provides comprehensive sexuality education with a strong focus on sexual abuse prevention. Beyond her professional pursuit, she is actively involved in Aries sports and cultural activities and beholds the title of Miss Beautiful Smile in Miss Universe Kerala 2024. In this session, Ms. Sandra will talk on the topic Unlocking Your Potential, Talent Solutions for a Changing World. Please join me in welcoming Sandra K. Enel.
Good evening, dignitaries, and good evening, Eurotech. I hope all the expert talk sessions that have been covered today was really informative and useful to all of you. I understand that listening to lectures for a long duration can be really tricky and tiring. Even though you have learned many things from this session, I totally relate with the mindset you are having right now. So I won't take much time. So let me start with a simple question. Do you know how many marine aspirants are there globally right now? Any figures? Can you guess it? Total number of people who are trying to get a job in the maritime industry. Any rough number? 2,000? Lakhs? Yes, there are around hundreds of maritime academies all across the world. They are producing around 10,000, maybe nearly lakhs of marine aspirant every year. So once you start entering into the workforce, the real competition you are going to face won't be the person sitting right next to you. Maybe you are going to face someone from another institute or maybe someone from another country. So what you can do so that you can stand apart from the rest of the candidates? That is what we are going to discuss in this short presentation. Unlocking your potential talent solutions for a changing world. As you have entered into maritime industry, you must definitely know that around 80% of global trade is happening through the maritime sector. As a result, the industry has produced around 70 million job opportunities. 70 million, that is really a big number. But in order to handle all these jobs, there are a lot of subcategories or subdivisions coming under the maritime industry, like the marine engineering side, offshore jobs, merchant navy roles, maritime services, and logistics. Once you are entering into the maritime industry, you have to keep in mind that our industry is constantly evolving. A lot of advancements are taking place in the industry at a very tremendous rate. So these are some of the trending areas for upskilling, but you have to keep in mind that while you are going for an upskilling or learning a new skill, you have to be very clear about what job domain you are going to work into, because different job domains require different skills to be learned. So here I have put some examples like CAD and design software, but this will be applicable for a person who is looking into design and engineering industry. And simulation and analysis tools, that will be applicable for people who wanted to get into a job in the design or operation sides of a vessel. Then if you are looking into getting into onboard, or you want to work onboard a vessel or work in a shipyard, you must be clear about various ship systems, how its maintenance are done, and what are the global regulations associated with that particular area. Then if you are looking for a more higher level job which demands leadership qualities, then you should be clear in project management and data analysis. And if you are entering on-board vessel, then you should be very clear about the modern navigation and communication system. That is really crucial for ensuring safety as well as ensuring smooth communication. So I have just shown these trending areas here. Just keep in mind that you have to constantly learn or constantly upskill yourself once you enter the workforce. Your learning is not going to end soon after leaving this institute. It should be a continuous process. So just keep this in your mind. Now we are quickly moving into some of the challenges you might be facing once you are starting your job search. We have an expertise of working with candidates over 10 plus years. With that expertise, we have compiled some key areas where you should be given enough focus while searching for a job. The first one is mismatch with suitable companies. Once you are entering into a job search, you might be a fresher. So you might be lacking proper information and you might be influenced by a lot of peer pressure. So there will be a tendency from your side to pick the job which is coming towards your friend firstly. Maybe that job won't give you the exposure you are looking into. For example, if you want to work in the structural side or the machinery side of a vessel, but you got a job in the logistic department, this logistics side is not going to give you the exposure you are looking into. So this may result in job dissatisfaction as well as a stagnant career growth. So you have to first identify where you want to go. Either you want to work on board or you have to go into some show-based role. You have to be very specific about what you are wanting from your career. The next one is soft skill gap. Many of the people, despite having a strong technical knowledge, will be struggling in interviews and group discussion due to this lack of soft skill training, which is like if you're having enough technical foundation or technical expertise, still you don't know how to communicate with your team members, or you don't know how to work in team, or you can't lead a team with confidence, then you will be definitely falling short in this particular area. Our traditional education system overlooks the skills like leadership, communication, which is really high demanded for the profession you are going to enter. So you have to be very thorough with your soft skills. Then lack of continuous training, continuous learning. I have already shown a slide showing the trending areas. So you have to keep searching, keep researching about the trends happening inside your industry and keep yourself upskill. Nobody is gonna push you. So you have to do it all by yourself. Just be connected with the industry and just continue learning something which is relevant for you. Last one is health and fitness. Majority of you are going to enter onboard ships and you will be staying long hours away from your family, friends, and you might be facing harsh weather. So health and fitness is of utmost importance for you. So you can't compromise on these stuff. If you compromise on any of these points, you will be out of the game, because someone who is fit, someone who is continuously learning, someone who have good soft skills will definitely have an edge over you. And let me remind you something. There is a key difference between learners. Learners who are smart, they learn from the experience and mistakes of themselves. They learn through their mistakes. But learners who are super smart or super brilliant, they learn from the mistakes and experience of other people. We have shown these challenges you might be facing here so that you can take proactive steps. You can prevent it from happening in your life. So keep these points in your mind, but we have some suggestions that you can follow to fix these errors that might be happening in your life. There are two approaches we wanted to suggest. One is systematic strategy and the other one is assistance from recruitment agency. First one, systematic strategy. So if you're starting to search for a job, you should have an organized plan. You can prepare a MS Excel or Google Sheet where you can list all the potential reputed marine companies among which or with whom you want to associate, and just collect their contact details. What is the application status? Have you applied for a job over there? What is the comments they are giving you? How can you improve for the next job interview? You should be going in an organized manner. And number two, you should have an updated resume and customized cover letter. Many of the candidates, when applying for different jobs, they send the same CV, same resume to different job role. But that doesn't work like that. If you are applying for different job roles, you have to twist your CV to suit that particular job role. If you are applying for a job in the structural side, or if you are applying for a job in this logistics side, you have to turn your CV in such a way that the employer feels like, yes, you are worth a try. So you have to keep your resume updated and according to the job description. Also, never ever send a cover letter by copying the content from internet, because these employers will be reading thousands of applications, so they can easily pick your templates. So you have more smart solutions right now like ChatGPT or Perplexity.ai or tools like Google, Bard or Gemini, where you can customize your cover letter according to your wish. So that once your potential employer read your cover letter, they should feel like they are talking with you, or they should feel like you are communicating with them, not a random robot or a template speaking with them. So you have to give a personalized touch, and you have smart AI tools for doing the same. And then connecting companies through email address. Many of you might be applying for jobs through platforms like Indeed, Naukri or something like that. But applying through such platforms and connecting via email will be different. When you have direct communication, the chances of landing on a job will be really high. And you can use platforms like LinkedIn to connect with the HR departments or senior official and keep an eye on the discussions happening in the platforms like LinkedIn, so that you can know about the trends in the industry, as well as you can connect with the expert in this field. So that's about systematic strategy. And next one is assistant from recruitment agency. You might have heard about a lot of recruiting companies here. The main benefit of approaching a recruitment company is most of the companies will be approaching these recruitment agency for hiring, not the public platform. So recruitment agencies will be having exclusive job opportunities. Once the recruitment company couldn't meet the expectations of these potential employers, they will be publicizing the vacancy. So getting connect with recruitment agency will give you more chances for finding a right job. And also, if you are looking for a job overseas, then the visa and documentation process will be really complex and tedious. So a recruitment agency can help you right from the beginning, from the form filling towards your migration towards another country. A recruitment company can help you. And also, most of the recruitment firms are doing networking and long-term career support. Like, they will be organizing events like this where you can meet with industry professionals and build connection. So I hope all of you will be having a good placement at the end, by the end of completing this course. If you are not having if you have any trouble finding any jobs, or you are looking for a job change or something like that, then Aries Overseas can definitely help you in this area. Aries Overseas, fondly known as AOS, is our recruiting arm, and we have already mentioned that Aries is considered as world's #1 brand in 5 different fields and #1 in Middle East in 31 fields. And with this vast network and 10 plus years of recruitment service in maritime and shipping field, we can help you with finding the right job or giving you the right advice needed when you are looking for a job change or something like that. So if you feel alone, or if you feel like needing some kind of assistance in the placement part, we are definitely here to help you, and we are really happy to help you with that. And we have a dedicated team headed by Mr. Ansar Taha, Senior Manager Recruitment, and they will be assisting you in clearing your doubt and ensuring a smooth placement for you. And that's a quick presentation about unlocking your potential. What I have meant to say that you should keep an eye on the market and observe the challenges and trends in the industry and take proactive steps so you can be different from rest of the candidates. And also remember that I have mentioned in between the session, learning from your mistakes will make you smart, but learning from others' mistakes makes you wise. Thank you.
That was a great presentation, ma'am. Let's now dwell into the Heart Voice framework with 2 insightful videos covering industrial behavior and the next topic on 25 qualities of an ideal profession. Can we have the AV, please?
The final destination of an educational journey in any industry is either as an employee or an entrepreneur, unless the government sector hires you. Even some spiritual and charity organizations these days function like a corporate entity with well-defined vision, targets, and KPIs. Industry selection. If you don't have a proper career design plan, most probably you will end up in an unknown industry. The job slot may not match with your talent, passion, and skill. The culture, risk, career growth, reputation in every industry is different. If the industry is in a 6 stage without any growth, it will inevitably affect your salary and career growth. So always do the proper research as a part of your career design to choose your industry and the location. Industrial qualification. Most of the jobs in the industry require only short-term training to learn, but approximately 10,000 hours of practice is necessary for one to become a master. A long-term technical training certification after your school academics is just a qualification proof. It is only the excellence in your performance that can take you up the ladder further. However, additional training and certification will be a booster for it. So it's always better to gain specialization in a particular field once you have chosen your area to achieve professional expertise. Typically, 80% of what you've learned from academics is not required for the industry. Just like that, 80% of what your industry needs is not taught through academics as well. So if an industrial bridging course or finishing school to develop your soft skill is available, it is recommended that you go opt for it to fill the gap. Employee selection. It's not the academic credentials, but the skill, experience, reference, track record, salary expectation, communication level, leadership skills, smartness, attitude, confidence level, common sense, etc. that are taken into consideration by the employer while choosing an employee. A well-drafted, unique resume is the first tool of a candidate to impress his future employer, as the first impression is the best impression. An additional video resume link shall add more flavor if you are confident about your smartness and presentation. Try to specify your minimum salary expectations or the last salary received in your resume, along with a couple of references to make things more transparent and to save time, unless that is your dream job destination. Do not mention anything wrong about the previous employer or the organization during the interaction as a reason for leaving, as it will give an image that you may repeat the same thing with your future employer as well. Employer selection. Employment is like a marriage. Every employer is different, and for having a long-standing relationship, one should verify the credentials of the future employers through multiple sources. It's always better to do an internship first, like a dating period, before opting the first employer. Never choose the salary as the main criteria for your first job. During the first couple of years, you are considered as a trainee who has joined to learn things at the employer's mercy. Take it as your career molding place, a launching pad to match your talent, passion, and education. Always seek for HR policy of the future employer to understand their strategies, professionalism, and culture. Legal contract. Like in a marriage, there is always a contract between the employee and the employer. It's your responsibility to abide by it up until you are relieved by the organization. Unprofessional exit causing operational or reputation loss may provoke the employer. An employer has a right to sue you for any violation that you make knowingly or unknowingly in a civil court, even if the labor court clears your final settlement. Such legal claims may affect your career growth as well. Work ethics. While joining the industry, the first work ethic that one must learn is to follow the duties and the responsibilities along with the KPIs and code of conduct of the organization, including accountability as per quality manual. Work ethics also covers cost control, confidentiality, saying no to bribes, politics, ego, personal agendas, wasting time, defaming, maintaining quality control, moral values, appearance, attendance, attitude, character, communication, cooperation, organizational skills, productivity, respect, teamwork, etiquette, including mobile, etc. Moreover, one should have own principles satisfying both moral and professional values to develop self-identity and reputation. Career growth. Career growth is directly proportional to your efficiency. Organization growth, relationship with the superiors, demand of the industry, skill upgradation, career building, attitude, etc. Opportunities may not come to you always. You may need to find it out sometimes. Child's conversions are your responsibility, as no one else will be bothered more about your career other than you. It's better to stick onto the same employer if there's enough career growth opportunity and job satisfaction. So switching jobs may give you tentative benefits, but they might not help you in the long run. It may eventually expose your unstable and untreatable character. Relationship with the employer. Client is always right is an unwritten policy of the industry. Hence, for maintaining a healthy relationship with the employer, one should consider his employer as his priority client. No organization and employment can exist without employers, and it is a primary responsibility of your employee to make sure that no unwanted internal pressure is placed upon an employer to satisfy one's objectives beyond the contractual terms. Even if you decide to leave the job for any reason, do it decently with a golden handshake and a proper notice. Find an appropriate replacement and go without snatching any client, confidential document, or any business so that you can get a warm welcome even if you decide to return. Employers may well be connected in various ways, and any unprofessional act from your side may become permanent black mark on you. Retirement plan. The most struggling period in one's life is the retirement period without a pension, especially in the private sector. It's always advisable to keep aside 10% of your monthly earnings as an investment towards the pension plans and learn to live with the rest of the 90%. So make sure to follow the pension fund at multiple investment modes with minimum risk. Whatever be the financial strain you face in your professional life, never use the pension fund to solve it. The money saved for pension is for pension only. Entrepreneurship. Those who wish to become an entrepreneur should have a proper strategy, especially when they don't have a family business background. Unless you don't have an innovative idea to launch as a startup at an early stage, it is better to work in an industry for a few years and get familiarized with the market to reduce the risk factor. Keep in mind that anyone can start a business, but to make it successful, you need to have passion, perseverance, marketing skills, quality outlook, analytical mind, and debt collection skills from the market for the services that you have offered. One of the significant objectives of FSM is to educate and mold freshers as per the industrial culture so that they don't become a burden for the employer due to their ignorance of the industrial awareness. The very purpose of academic education and industrial training is to mold an individual into a professional who can serve the industry of his choice, but regrettably the industry is not looking at the academic scores, but the quality output or the professional behavior. So let's look at the 25 parameters that make the person the ideal professional for the industry. Technical competency. Not having a certification from a recognized institution can be deemed as a qualification stamp. Our industry is on a continuous lookout for candidates who have very specific training in particular operations, since many professional jobs involve specialized skills to work. Technical competency should be upgraded regularly as the system and technology change quite often. Communication. Communication is basically the art of transferring information from one place, person, or group to another. Language, understanding, logical assessment, timely response, network communication, procedure, awareness, features, and mobile application utilization are applicable under this. To avoid communication drain, it's better to communicate in the mother tongue whenever possible. Honesty and loyalty. The most valuable asset of an organization is its honest and loyal employees who embody their personal principles like sincerity, accountability, straightforwardness, dependability, and even more into their work life without being able to manipulate. Whether in personal or professional life, strength, durability, and harmony in the relationships are strongly influenced by these characteristics. Dependability, dedication, devotion, commitment, belief, trustability, and retainability are just reflections of one's own loyalty. Work ethics. As a part of industrial behavior, under work ethics, a professional is expected to follow the duties and responsibilities, including KPIs and code of conduct, as insisted by the organization. This also includes accountability, cost control, confidentiality, saying no to bribes, politics, ego, wasting time, defaming, personal agenda, maintaining quality control, moral values, appearance, attendance, attitude, character, flexibility, communication, cooperation, organizational skills, productivity, respect, teamwork, and etiquette, including mobile. Moreover, one should also have his own life principles that can satisfy both moral and professional values and develop one's self-identity and reputation. Professional etiquettes. As a professional, one should practice and follow several etiquettes, including dress code, table manners, greetings, mobile usage, meeting rules, eye contact, making calls, addressing someone, shaking hands, punctuality, body language, voice level language, paying at restaurants, mutual respect, topic deviation, thank you notes, proofreading, politeness on communication, hygiene, self-introduction, and even more. Time management. It's not the duration, but the priority and the quality of work that you completed in the allocated time that matters for success. Therefore, always prioritize your targets, placing the most important ones at the top and completing it in descending order. Result-oriented. The chances of winning a football match is ultimately dependent on the goal scored. For this, you should have a proper strategy, training, determination, defense system, teamwork, and scoring talent. For a result-oriented person, the eyes shall always be on the target and not on the route. Planning and delegation additional goals. Planning can only be considered as successful if you can achieve your goals in a designated time. Therefore, you must prioritize and delegate your jobs that can be handled by your subordinates at a minimal cost, as this will allow you to accommodate additional goals. Teamwork. Teamwork is like playing football. To win the game, you must pass the ball to the right person at the right time and not try to score all the points yourself. As a team player, to finish the work assigned to you, you must be flexible and consider completing the given task for your organization and team by staying away from selfishness, egos, and communication gaps, which can hinder your ability to accept orders, requests, and criticism. Self-confidence for crisis management. A crisis can harm your self-esteem in many ways, but the ability to believe in yourself and to accomplish anything is completely within your control. Self-confidence mostly depends on your character, knowledge, talent, efficiency, communication strength, financial backups, decision-making, and crisis management skills as a leader, calm and composed demeanor, technological strength skill set, willpower, fitness, reputation, and even more. Systematic, organized, and disciplined. If a systematic tourist can win the race over a hare, if a well-disciplined army can get the upper hand in a war, and if a well-organized student can never fail his exam, as a professional, you must too imbibe these minimum qualities to become a successful person both in your career and in your life. Dynamic. In this competitive world, an individual must have exceptional pace, out-of-the-box thinking to win the race of life. He must be aggressive, self-motivated, flexible, and must not procrastinate with tasks as a dynamic person does not believe in wasting time even a single minute of his life. Instead of being tied to a single route, should be willing to change or adapt based on circumstances. Marketing and branding. Every employee is a brand ambassador of that organization. Their quality service, behavior with their clients, and word of mouth can all be considered as the best marketing and branding services which an organization can get without having to spend an extra dime. Proactiveness. Forecasting is a special talent of successful individuals. It works as a warning signal for them to take sufficient breathing space between their tasks and take proper preventive measures. Security measures, having insurance, etc. are the best examples of proactiveness based on the principle of prevention is better than cure. Positive attitude. A positive attitude is a character reflection that transmits positive energy, making others around you active and comfortable. Optimism, sportsman spirit, willingness to accept additional responsibility, admitting mistakes, learning from mistakes, taking corrective actions, and self-assessment are examples of positive attitude. Common sense. Common sense is a basic quality requirement of a professional which is etched in a person's DNA. We may have many things in our mind which we wish to say or do, but they may turn out to be inappropriate at times. In such circumstances, common sense, along with logical thinking and timely actions, helps us to decide the right course and action. Common sense should act as the borderline between right and wrong for every step in life. Knowledge building. Knowledge is considered as the backbone of a professional, and one should regularly update it for career growth. But knowledge building will only be effective if it enhances the efficiency and character behavior of the person. Health and safety. Health and safety have become an integral part of any industry, and HR is regarded as the most expensive and the most important tool for its operation. As a part of quality management system, which follows minimum tolerance limits, a professional is required to comply with it religiously. Quality-oriented. According to any company's policy, quality is a culture that should be followed by every employee, irrespective of the designation, to ensure the value and standards of the products or service delivered to its clients. A professional is required to have a proper procedure in place of his given task and comply without fail. As per ISO, there should always be continual improvement in the ensured quality of the product and service offered. Efficiency-oriented. Efficiency is directly proportional to the output, quality, and profit, and inversely proportional to the cost and time. There are more than 200 drain holes in an efficiency management system, and as a professional, one should try to at least plug half of it. Empathy. Whether it is cognitive, emotional, or compassionate empathy, they all reflect a professional's healthy attitude to build a strong bond with his fellow mates, raise their morale, and share their problems. Getting involved in CSR activities as a supporting arm will be the best opportunity for professionals to show their social empathy and commitment. Duties and responsibilities. Every professional should be well aware of his duties and responsibilities, along with determined KPIs while serving any organization. But to become more efficient, additional responsibilities and targets should be set voluntarily. Management contribution. To climb up the ladders on professional career, one should prove the leadership ability and support management by providing creative ideas, marketing tips, taking risks, expansion strategies, information, conspiracy, security, and valuable advice during crisis management. Practicing the duties of the superiors voluntarily as an additional responsibility will provide the management the confidence to consider the person for more responsible slots. A responsible professional should train their subordinates even for all replacement and identify new talents to widen the team. Exit from the organization should satisfy the legal contract without affecting the operations. Cost control. A true professional will always be observant and watchful to report any financial drain holes in the organization. Every penny saved by reducing operating costs and improving efficiency adds to the profit. In business, cost reduction is more valuable than increasing the price tag. Leadership. The remarkable trait of leader is the ability to harness the best out of the subordinates through motivation. Daily, weekly, monthly reviews should be followed by appreciations or observations. A responsible leader should try to become a role model for his downline and rectify their mistakes instead of hiring them. Also, always lead from the front and give credits to the team members rather than taking it for yourself. In EPISM, each of these parameters are regularly reviewed and documented. The effective implementation not only improves the efficiency, but also changes the professional character.
What an absolutely great session. I hope you all enjoyed this day. Just a few announcements to make. Cadets can move to their respective hostels after the session. Snacks is provided in the mess hall right after the session, and all cadets are expected to be present. Also note that all cadets must assemble for muster on the muster ground at 5:30 p.m. All STCW students must complete their exams at 4:30 p.m. To wrap up our event, I invite Captain Rajiv Menon sir of Pre-C Nautical Science HOD, Eurotech Maritime Academy to join the stage for a vote of thanks. Sir, please.
Captain Hilary Christie, Mr. Basant Ponat. I know they are not here with us right now, but nevertheless, I shall include them in my address. Ms. Sandra, HODs, faculty, instructors, HCOs, admin staff, IT department, campus manager, and my dear students. I trust all our Pre-C students would have got valuable insights into the shipping industry from our distinguished guests of the day. I hope the session has been very useful for you in shaping your career in the Merchant Navy. I hope you have gained valuable information which will help you in deciding your future. And also, I sincerely hope that you have or you are on your way to becoming a mighty mariner. Therefore, on behalf of all of you, it is now my honor to propose a vote of thanks. Let me first thank all those who are and were physically present, and then I shall move on to those who are not physically with us, but nonetheless, without whose blessings this program would not have been possible. First up, the three dignitaries, Captain Hilary Christie, Mr. Basant Konat, and Sandra Ma'am. Believe me, we are indeed honored to have had you all with us today, giving us valuable insights and advice to our students. On behalf of the management of Eurotech, the principal, team, and all connected with Eurotech, and on my personal behalf, I thank all the three of you all for having spent your valuable time with us, imparting the best possible advice that you could have given to our pre-C students in preparing them for the challenges that lie ahead. Next, Sir Sohan Roy. Even though you were not physically present, but your online address to our students via a video link was wonderfully received. The advice given by you will be carried by the students throughout their career. On their behalf and on behalf of the management, the principal, and all of Eurotech, I thank Sir Sohan Roy for his valuable advice given to our students. Dr. Deepti Mankat, thank you very much, ma'am, for your inspiring talk on psychological safety and mental health at sea. Life on board the ship is a totally different kettle of fish. And this whole thing about mental health at sea has finally received its recognition, though a little late. We thank you very much, ma'am, and I'm sure all the students will remember the valuable advice which you are given, and they will remember this on board the ship. On behalf of the management and all of us in Eurotech, I thank you very much. Dr. Ahmed Sweden, your presentation on preparing your vessel for efficient dry dock maintenance, a seafarer's perspective, I am sure was well received, not only by our pre-C students, but also the post-C students who would have gained at least a few new things which they can keep in mind when they next prepare for their dry docking. On behalf of the management, the principal, and all of us here, thank you very much, Dr. Ahmed. I take this opportunity to thank all the admin staff, the IT, the campus manager, the HCOs for their untiring work behind the scenes, due to which this program has become a grand success. Thank you all. Thank you very much. You were the backbone that kept this whole program going like a well-oiled machine throughout the day. The principal, Captain Biju, Dean, Captain Haridas, the HODs, faculty, and instructors. Thank you all too for encouraging and inspiring the pre-C students and enabling them to make best use of this whole session. On behalf of the students and on my personal behalf, I thank all of you, sirs. And finally, let me thank our beloved management, led by the one and only Sri Babu sir. All this was only possible because of their love for our students and their long-term strategic vision for the betterment of their future. They have only one thought in their mind, and that is how best to turn our budding seafarers into professionals the country can be proud of. On behalf of the students, the principal, the dean, the faculty, and all of us here, we thank the management from the bottom of our heart. Thank you very much. And with that, I think I have done my duty of proposing a vote of thanks. In case I have missed out anyone, it was not intentional. I thank each one of you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Let's all rise for the national anthem.